Good evening, viewers, and my name is Edmond Safali. Now we are talking about a serious issue in our communities called fatherlessness. Now you might be either one of them. You could be knowing someone. You could be married to someone or be dating someone, or even raising one. Now, in today's episode, we are going to be talking to one of the directors of Remnant Generation, who will be discussing for us and making us understand this topic better. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Safari.
So who is Annabelle?
I want to first of all say that I'm very delighted that you took the time to invite me to come and be a part of the show. You're doing an amazing job, and I want to also say thank you to Urban TV. Annabelle is, like you introduced, the executive director and also the founder of the Remnant Generation, an organization that is mainly working with youth at risk and in the areas mainly of adolescence, and all the changes that come with that, unplanned pregnancy and abortions. We are a pro-life as well organization that believe it doesn't matter how a child has been conceived, that is still alive, and we don't believe in abortions, okay? And we also work with youth in schools and in local communities. So basically, that is us, that is who we are. Yes. And
I would like to thank you for allowing to join us for this pertinent issue amongst our communities about fatherlessness. Now, before we can have this courageous conversation with you, I would like to ask my producer to share with us when we went to the streets, what we got about this issue from the streets.
My dad is probably, I can say, is a God-fearing man.
But he's loving, caring, though sometimes mad.
I remember one time we were going to church, and then my shoelaces were all over, and I was almost falling. I remember he stopped me, knelt down, and tied my shoelaces. For me, that stuck in my mind.
He was a loving dad. He was very, very strict indeed. And education was key.
He's basically a loving father.
He was very much part and parcel of my life.
He's a caring man, loving.
Initially, we used to think that, okay, he's being so strict and what have you. But after growing up and I see the kind of discipline he was trying to instill in us and the importance it had.
He's been at home, he taught us very many things, like digging at home.
The fact that he's my role model.
Exactly, he's been part and parcel of my life.
He did create a big difference in my life.
Yeah, he did, because he paid for me my school fees.
We'd do homework together, stuff. He'd want to come to school and find out from the teachers.
In fact, even he did it for my siblings. He could wait for me in particular, do my prep, read my books. Like at 10, we come back home with him on foot because it was a walkable distance. He never did for me, I think.
That one, nothing.
But I think one main most thing is just creating more friends.
Yeah, because birthdays were not a thing. Yeah, I think for him, he thought after buying food, birthdays nothing.
I can't lie, but my father's done everything.
Exactly, they are doing this favor to the family. First of all, to the children. They're not loving their children, and they're not loving their wives at all.
I believe my advice to them would be close to your children, because if you're not close to your kids, when they grow up, they'll hate you.
Take care of their kids and always be there for them.
They welcome you, Daddy, welcome back, welcome back. But you see some families, when you come back home, like, let me say I'm the husband, they even the children switch off the sleep and they run back to where they sleep.
You possibly watched that?
Yes, yes.
What do you have to say about it?
I would say that I'm very pleased that we still have people that agree with me, and I'm sure with us as the people that are sitting here, that it is very important to have a father figure in one's life. It is very, very important. You know, when God was creating this humankind, you know, he started with Adam. He started with Adam and then gave Adam the Garden of Eden with the responsibility to take care of it. Actually, it goes on to say that every animal that is in the garden, it was everything that we see right now as animals and plants, they were named by Adam. And until today, we still call those things the same names. Okay? Now, a father in a family has the responsibility that is beyond just getting a child into somebody's belly, a woman's belly. But even to the point of delivery, when the child comes out into the world, it is the father that gives them a name. That just like Adam was naming the animals and everything, it's still the man's responsibility to name. It is still the man's responsibility to take care and protect. It is still the man's responsibility to nurture and groom a child and basically be the shield of the family. So I'm really very excited to know that there are some people that have found fathers that are in their lives, and they testify that because their fathers have been involved, they are what they are today. You know, I was very inspired by the guy that said that his dad used to go with him during prep time at night to school, and then he had to sit there until preps were done, and then they walk home together. Today, Edmond, it is very absurd that we have a generation that is increasing, that is fatherless. And this generation is either fatherless because the father has died, it's either fatherless because the father has abandoned the family, and I was one of those. It's either fatherless because the father has deliberately rejected his responsibilities. And we also have a generation that is also cropping up, especially, you know, coming as women are borrowing these ideas from the Western world. A generation of children that are being born, you know, a woman deliberately walks to a man and they want to have, they will choose to sleep together just to get pregnant, but they have no intentions of raising a family. And then she will go and give birth to a baby, and then she will nurture that child as a single mother.
And you earlier on said
yes,
that even the Bible states
yes,
that there was Adam and Eve. So, and we have lots of literature
yes,
that presupposes us, that believes that we need to have fathers in homes.
Yes.
Then why is that a huge issue today? Yet I assure so many people are reading, are knowledgeable about that subject.
Thank you so much, Edmond. Now, I want to say that we may think that people know, but I think that's where we get it wrong. I don't know precisely the year where we got off track, but as we started advancing into, you know, as we developed, as the pressure for economic survival came into play, as the campaigns for women empowerment came into play, and all those different factors, we started seeing men moving away from their positions and letting women take up their responsibilities. In as much as I believe in women empowerment, I don't agree that it is right for a mother to raise children alone. We move in schools, Edmond, like I said, and every year we work with almost 13, you know, between 13 to 15 secondary schools and maybe 10 primary schools. And that's about 10,000 children that we work with. And as we are addressing issues of unplanned pregnancy, as we are addressing issues of rape, as we are addressing issues of sexual abuse, it is heartbreaking to find that there are fathers that are raping their children. There are fathers that are basically intentionally giving away their children because of a bottle of beer to men. There are fathers that will choose to have multiple sexual partners, have different children with those partners, and deliberately refuse to take care of those children. Now, that is why we see so many women right now, if you take an example and walk down the streets of Kampala, you're going to find women sitting down by the roadside, some with mangoes, others with tomatoes, others with greens, and they're having little babies, 3 months, 2 months, you know, some are on the streets, literally street beggars. And why? It is because they are working extremely hard to fend for these children. Where is the man?
Let's explore the categories of fatherliness.
Now, I will start, for example, with that one. You know, there are those children that are right now sitting outside in the cold and they're working with their mothers. And some are sleeping in the gutters of the streets of Kampala. And those children came from a seed, which was a man. Every generation starts from a man, you know. And because the fathers are absent from these children's lives, they're either a category that we can say they are rejected, the father doesn't want to know. We have come across young people that have testified to us and said, you know what, Annabelle, for me, ever since I grew up, I don't know who my father is. I've been trying to search. I've asked my mother. She never wants to tell me the truth, you know. And because of that, this child feels like she's been rejected. And her lifestyle basically depicts rejection. We also have a category of fatherlessness that is typically the orphans, you know, where the father has died, maybe because of a natural death cause, maybe it was an accident, maybe it was because of war. You know, we also have so many of those. But we also have this fatherlessness that is actually very sad, where you have a father in the house. They wake up in the morning and go to work, and they come back in the evening, but they are not in any way present in the lives of their children.
Now let's talk about the concept woman emancipation.
Yeah.
And you have actually talked about it.
Yeah.
And let's also, we're talking about the concept of fatherhood. Do you think that these two concepts clash? Does one of the other downplay the other?
That's a very good question. I really don't think that woman emancipation is not bad. And fatherhoodness is not, it's either way, like there's no debate. That one is a must do, you know. I think where the gap is the fact that women came to a point where they felt men are like dummies in their lives. And like basically when you have a man in the house who cannot parent, who cannot feed the children, who cannot be there to discipline them, who cannot be there to pay their school fees, who cannot be there to love you as a woman. Basically, you cease to have a man. Because like I said, from biblical principle, in the formation of this world, a man, who in these terms a father, is supposed to be doing these things. And a woman is supposed actually to be raising the children and not like raising the family, taking care of the home and all those different things. When it came to a point where men felt like they were not obliged. I think maybe they're feeling overwhelmed with the responsibilities. They decided to abandon them, and then that's where we get all. And then they started abusing women, you know, sexually. They take women to be sex objects. They take women to be, you know, down and basically people that don't matter. That's where the strength of the women empowerment, you know, campaign comes from. But on the other hand, it is. Because of that, we have seen so many women that have deliberately decided to keep fathers out of their children's lives.
Now, let's come back from that commercial break.
Yeah.
And from there, we shall continue the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in on Urban TV on the best show, 30 Minutes with Edmond Safali. Now earlier on we had this serious conversation with Annabelle about the role of fathers in homes. Now Annabelle,
yes, sir.
We are talking about, you have an organization,
yes.
Remnant Generation,
yes,
that works with lots of youth and have so many issues, including unplanned pregnancies, abortions, all sorts of things. Should we assume that the lack of their fathers in their lives, especially to the young girls and even to the young boys with a lot of recklessness they have got, is majorly contributed because they lacked a father?
Thank you so much, Edmond. I would say that not solely because there is a lack of a father figure in the lives of these young people, but it's also a huge factor. And it's one of the things that we have discovered in the past, since 2011, as we are working with these young people, whether in the schools, whether in the churches or in the communities, whether those that walk down to our offices. One of the things we have realized is that, especially, for example, in the girl child, there is that hole that a girl always has for love. This love that is supposed to come from a male figure. The first lover for a girl child is their dad. If they grow up and they don't have a male figure in their life, a person who walk down to them and tell them, I love you, will be a hero to them. We have seen girls that have gotten pregnant, and it was because somebody took them out to watch a movie. Somebody took them out to have chips and chicken. Somebody promised to basically give them a ride around Kampala city. Then in the village, somebody promised them, I'll take you to Kampala if you sleep with me. But if there is a father in the family and they're able to play their part, this girl will be shown that your self-esteem, you have value, you have esteem. You don't need a man, you don't need to sleep with a man to just for chips. Daddy can buy you chips. You understand? Girls basically look at themselves as cheap as just chips and chicken, which are 5,000 shillings. We have also found young men who are basically 16 years old. They are getting girls pregnant. We have a case of, one of the cases that we have dealt with, we have a young man that got 3 girls pregnant at the same time. And when we look into the history of this young man, is that there is no father figure, and the history and the history of the father is that the father has had 7 different women. Now, this young man has grown up seeing dad doing that.
So it is history reporting itself.
Exactly. He has not had any time to sit down with the father for the father to tell this young man, Tomani, I might be having many women, but these are the challenges that I'm facing. Let me tell you, Edmond, children do what they see. They don't do what they hear. They don't do what you tell them. They do what they see.
I love that.
So if they are not seeing the father being responsible, if they are not seeing the father telling them that you're beautiful, if they are not seeing the father loving their mom and not beating them up, if they are not seeing the father treating women with respect, it breaks my heart to find men that are 60, 50 years and they are coming after a girl who is 16 years old. I found men when I was growing up that were supposed to protect me, that we are actually coming down to just want to have sex with me. But in my view, they're supposed to be like the father figure in my life. So when we speak out about a father, we are not even just referring to the biological father. When that child is in your school and you're a male teacher, you become a father. When you have an employee who is a female and you're a male boss, you become a father. When that child comes into a different family setting, you know, you're a distant relative and there is a male figure in the family, you become a father. Now, if the people that are supposed to protect become the predators, and they prey on the children, on the young girls, on the innocent souls that they're supposed to protect, where is this generation heading to?
Now, as we encourage the issue of fathers stepping up,
yes,
we also need to understand what role do the youth have in ensuring that they live responsibly.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. And I will say this, that number one, to young people, it's not a good, it's not excuse enough for you to say, simply because my dad had so many women, therefore I'll sleep down with women recklessly. I mean, if you're not ready to be a father, just don't have sex. So, you know, like it is your personal responsibility. And I've also seen very many success stories of young people that have had no parents at all, but they have decided to be different. I personally have a motivational slogan that you become the change you want to see.
Thank you.
You cannot go back and change your past, but you can start from now and change your future.
So how do we start the future now? So
I will start the future by saying, one, to every young person that is watching today, that first of all, you're 100% responsible for your life. Some mistakes your parents have made, your mentors have made, you don't need to repeat the same. You can choose to be different. And to every parent that is watching, I want you to know that your child is your responsibility. Before they become the child of the government, before you send them to school, before you send them to anyone else, it's your responsibility. They need to hear you love them. They need to see you basically encouraging them, rebuke them in love, counsel them and guide them, and together we can raise a generation that we are proud of.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I hope to invite you one more time to talk about this issue in more detail.
Thank you so much, Edmond.
Now you have heard Annabelle with this call to action.
Yes.
And now, we all have different issues. But certainly, if you didn't have a father in your life, or even if you had one I need to tell you that parenting doesn't come in the form of a textbook. You have to learn as you go. You have to remember to always research about parenting. Now, even if you didn't come from a place where you probably suffered from lack of a father in your figure, there are always the fathers around us.
Yes.
And that's how amazing God can be. Because you might have missed a father in your figure, but around you, you have a grandfather, you have an uncle, you have a brother, you have a teacher, you have a mentor. So this is what I call a real father. You may call them surrogate fathers, but these are the real fathers. And real fathers do make deposits in their children through which their children can make withdrawals in their lives. Now, until next time, till we meet again, bye-bye.